Clawdbot has over 39,000 stars and it's completely taking over the internet at the moment. I've spent the last few days testing it ever since it came out 3 weeks ago, and I'm genuinely really impressed, but I've got some real concerns about it and what it's going to mean for your local machine. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we can install Clawdbot on our local machines straight away, and how we can connect it into platforms like Telegram. We'll cover exactly what Clawdbot is, then we're going to go into a walkthrough step by step for the installation, and then we're going to share some more tips and tricks and thoughts at the end. If you're tired of just copy and pasting between ChatGPT and your application, or just not being able to get through all of your tasks within the day, then this is definitely a video you're going to want to check out. And if you want to learn more about AI and automation, make sure to come across to our community. We've got tons and tons of insights. You can get one-on-one time with me and much, much more to get ahead with AI. So what is Clawdbot? Well, it's actually going to be what the idea of Siri and ChatGPT and AI was right at the start. It's actually going to be an AI agent that can take actions on your behalf. But there is some real security concerns that you need to be aware of. So first things first, we're going to want to come through and install it. Currently, it is really optimized for Mac OS, and that's probably why you've seen lots of people install it on their Mac Minis, but you do not have to do it on the Mac platform. I'm going to have another video that covers how to do it on Windows specifically, as well as a VPS, virtual private server, so definitely check that out in the comments down below once it's live. So how do we actually go through and get Clawdbot installed? Well, we're going to come across to their main website here, and it's going to cover lots of details that we need to use. For example, here they're going to have the one-liner commands that we can use straight away, or we can use npm to install it. We can also get the version with the source code if we want to access that, or the simple Mac app that we can use as well. If we come back to the one-liner quickly, we can also change it between Windows and, of course, having PowerShell and CMD, or we can come back to our Mac's terminal as well, just to make sure we've got it ready to go. It will explain a bit about what Claude is actually able to do and some of the apps that it's already connected in, but we're going to be touching on actually the Claude Hub a bit later on to show you why it's better to use this to get some of the skills installed. So to get it installed, all we need to do is come up to the top, copy this command here or one of the other ones, and then you simply need to open up the terminal on your computer, enter the command in there, and now it's going to start going through and installing everything. Again, you do not need to have a Mac Mini to be able to run this. You're able to run it on, yes, your local machine here, or you can run it on a virtual private server if you want that disconnection. We can use Hostinger, AWS, there's loads of different providers out there. Please don't feel that you need to go through and actually buy a Mac Mini. If you want a more physical and local device, you can even run it on different platforms like a Raspberry Pi. It just depends on what you want that agent to be able to do. We're going to let this go through and install everything that we need it to, and then we should be able to walk through the setup process. We're going to go through and also show you how to connect in your Telegram tokens as well to make sure we can use it through that. So we've got it installed pretty quickly here, and now we've got our setup screen to go through. So first things first, this is going to talk about the security, because of course we're going to give Clawdbot the ability to run commands, read and write files, and act through any tools that we give it access to. So the team want to make sure that you're just aware of this risk and you accept it. We're going to do a quick start onboarding mode. They've got all of these different tools that we're able to access. Interestingly, they've got ones like OpenCode Zen. Make sure to check out my other video on OpenCode if you want to learn more about that. And they've got ones like OpenRouter for different LLMs sort of aggregated together. All the big platforms like Google. We've also got Minimax, Gwen, Anthropic, and OpenAI. Now I'm going to come through and use OpenAI because Anthropic are being really strict around, of course, their terms of service at the moment. So we're just going to come through and choose OpenAI. We're going to do ChatGPT auth for this. We're then going to need to go through and just log into our account. So now we've signed in, we're going to say continue with our account. This is going to take us back through and we should now be authenticated and ready to go. Now we've got access to all of the G models ready to go. We're going to come down and make sure that we're using 5.2, and now we can see all of the different ways that we can interact with our agents. We're going to be able to do Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, Google, and many, many others in there. Of course, one of the reasons that people have been buying the Mac Minis just to separate their own instance so it has its own computer is so that they can use the iMessage feature as well. We're going to come up and just show you how to use the Telegram version today. We're going to use the bot API. So to do this, we're going to need to come across to Telegram. Once you're in Telegram, come out to the top and search for bot and then father. We're going to open that up in here. We're going to press start. We're going to come through and say we want to create a new bot. We're going to call it Claude and then bot in here. We need to give it a unique username. So we're going to do Alex YT and then Claude _ bot. This should go through, create an account for us. We want to copy this access token here and then come back across. Once we're in our terminal again, we're going to paste the key in there and press enter. Now it should go through and make sure we're all connected nice and easily. Next, we're going to touch on skills. Now we'll be able to press yes, and we can see several different skills in here. You'll be able to choose the different ways they're installed. Bun is going to be the fastest, but many of us will be used to using NPM day to day, so we're going to choose that one. Now you're going to be able to see some of the different skills that we're able to access with our Clawdbot. They include everything from Apple Notes and reminders through to Bird being able to access Twitter, and we've got Gemini, Nano Banana Pro, OpenAI Whisper, and many, many more. You can come through here, have a look through all of them. We can do Philips Hue if we want to. They got tons and tons of different options. We're going to come through and we're just going to say that we want to skip for now because we're going to go through all of the different skills a bit later on. We're going to say no for geo places, local places, Nano Banana Pro, but we're going to have an in-depth walkthrough and guide on this and the OpenAI version as well, and the Whisper, and of course 11 Labs for that text-to-speech. Now we're going to come through, turn on our hooks for command logger, which is going to create a centralized audio file, and we're going to do the session memory, just so it's got the context between the different ones. Now we're going to press enter, and it should go through and start setting up everything for us in the background, and then we should be able to access with our local interface, as well as be able to use it with, of course, our Telegram instance as well. So there we go, it's just installed our gateway. Now it's given us the option to go through and choose the TUI. So we're going to press enter on that. It is going to load up our dashboard in here. Now, as we can see on the background, it's actually going to go through and start getting that setup process in place. What I recommend is just going through and talk to this like you would a brand new colleague. What should you call it? What should they call you? And go through what looks good day to day. Any information about you, because of course it knows nothing about you at the moment. So we want to make sure it's got as much relevant information in there to help you get the outputs. So for example, we could come down and say, hey there, my name is Alex and I would like you to call me Alex. I'm going to call you Jarvis because you're my helpful AI assistant that enables me to get loads done throughout the day. I want you to be calm, efficient, but also concise in your responses, have a British tonality, friendly, everything like this that we would expect. I need you to be in the same time zone, which is going to be Europe and then London. And we're going to lock all of these in for now under your, of course, MD file that you've got. And I will share much more information to do with me under the user MD that we're going to go through and set up a lot later as well. We'll be able to get that pasted in there and send it off. This is where it's worth going through and investing the time up front to make sure that it's all ready to go for that conversation. And then we're going to walk through checking that it's all accessible within our Telegram. So even if we're out and about on our phone, we can still access it. Then we're going to go through how we can get some custom skills set up and how we can let it interface with Google as well. As we can see here, it's gone through and updated a few pieces of information. This is why they get you to, of course, confirm that you're happy for it to do it, because it's now going to be running local commands on your desktop. This is one of the biggest concerns I have on it at the moment, especially around prompt injections, the security, because we're basically giving our entire machine away to this. So that's why, yes, people are buying external machines. We're going to have an entire video that covers how to do it in a VPS, because this is a lot of data that, of course, basically it's got access to now, and we just take one issue to go through, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. But it's really interesting to see the way that AI is going. As you can see here, it's got lots and lots of information ready to go. Now we're going to come to and say, great, we're going to cover this in much more depth later on, getting to know each other, optimizing your performance, and letting you know as much about me as possible. What I want you to do first, though, is confirm if we're able to chat in our Telegram that I set up earlier, or if it's not ready to go quite yet. Now we're going to send this off, and we just check if it's ready to go, or if we need to make any final tweaks before we can use that instead. So there we go, we just got the response back. It looks like it knows that it's all connected, which is great to see. So what we're going to do is just come a bit further up, check where it's run all the different commands, which it looks like it has again. This is why we've got to be really, really careful with what it's doing in the background. So what we're going to do is just come across to our new account. We're going to open it up by clicking on this command here. And now we'll be able to go through and press start. This should then connect it. It looks like we need to go through and just have a pairing code. So we're going to copy this and we're going to pair that in here. We'll come back across to our agent and then we're just going to paste it in here. So there we go. We now should be all ready to go within that conversation. So now we've got access to be able to use this wherever we are in the world. And it's really, really powerful because we can get it to go through, do some research for us. We can do chronological jobs, which we're going to touch on in a second, and give it lots and lots of different abilities, all basically running its own computer like our very own assistant or employee. If we now test this out, we should be able to say, hey there, and we should see that we get a response back. Again, depending on the model that you use, as we can see now I've got it ready to go, which is absolutely fantastic. So we can say, what are you able to do? Send this off, and now we'll be able to chat back and forth constantly in the background. Again, you'll be able to see everything in here, like what it is doing, so that we can keep a track of what it's able to do, what we can change, improve. And now we're going to go through and make sure that we get some of the skills involved so that we get that better output. So the first thing we're going to do is come across to their documentation page. The first thing we're going to do is search for Chrome, because we have a Chrome extension to enable it to go through and actually complete the process. We're going to copy this command here. Again, just to show you that we got that response back in Telegram and it can execute commands on our behalf, we can say, great, now please can you enable the Chrome extension skill for me on my machine. And then we'll be able to paste that in there and it should go off and complete it for us. Of course, again, this is running commands. This is why we're going to be so careful with it. Prompt injection, we're giving it direct access to our machine. So we've got to be really, really careful what it's doing and just keeping an eye on it. But it is incredibly powerful and it can help massively speed up some of the workflows that you've got as well. So there we go. It now says it's all done. So if we come back across to our browser, we should be able to see up the top here, we got the extensions. If we scroll down, it looks like I can't see any at the moment. We'll do manage extension. We'll turn on developer mode. We're going to come up to load unpacked. We're going to do shift command and then G. We'll get rid of that pathway there and just come across to here, which is what is specified in our Telegram message. We're going to just make sure that that's all ready to go. We'll do select, and now we should be able to go through and give our Claude the ability to go through and search the internet. So we're just going to make sure that it's saved in here, and we're just going to pin it as well. So we're just going to come through, click on it and make sure it's turned on. We're then going to come back to Telegram. We'll just give it a message saying, please can you go through and just check our Google News. We're just going to come through and say attach, because it should all be connected and ready to go. So we'll just get it to go through and make sure that it's able to test. So there we go. As we can see in the background, it's now opened a tab for us and it's checking AI news, which is really, really interesting. Again, that agentic workflow in the background, helping us achieve what we wanted to. Be interesting to see how it's analyzed these news stories. There we go. 3 minutes later, it looks like it's gone through and got some of the AI news stories for us to be able to read through. So it's really, really interesting. I've got that ability to go off and do, for example, we could say, go through and research my competitor, which maybe is OpenAI. I want to learn the latest from their website, how they work, and provide that in a detailed report back to me. Again, we could send off commands like that. I know that I'm not, of course, a direct competitor to OpenAI, but it gives you the idea that now, whilst you're on the go, you could get stuff installed to your local machine. You could go through and complete specific tasks if you need to do whilst you're walking around. And that brings us on to the Claude Hub, which is going to enable us to actually do loads and loads of skills with lots of different applications. For example, we've got Trello, we've got Slack, we've got G4 Analytics, Firecrawler, we've got tons and tons of different here for us to be able to use. If we want to see all of them, we'll come down to see skills. It's got the newest ones formed, so we'll just change that to downloads, and we can see some of the most popular ones that are already out there. And there we go, we've got the self-improving agent, which is definitely something of interest. We've also got auto skill updater, we've got Bird for accessing tweets on X, we've got GitHub interactions, we've got Humanizer, and many, many more. So for example, if we want the self-improving agent, what we're going to do is simply click on this. it will load up that skill for us. We can read all of the details in here to make sure that we can set it out correctly. But if we wanted to, now that we've got access to it, we can just give it the command to go through, download and install it, and it will be able to go through and do this for us on autopilot. So as we can see there, we've got our in-depth report about our competitor OpenAI. It actually went through and gave us 2 message backs. Of course, it looks like web search isn't configured on this machine yet. Brave API key, so it's based on what it could find on its own website pages. So there's definitely more that we could improve to, of course, give it those extra skills to get the output. Now, something else I want to show as well, which I think is really important, is something called chronological jobs. So as it learns more about you, it'll be able to go through and actually start producing outputs for you on repeat, almost like a more automated but intelligent process. And this is one of the reasons that people are absolutely loving Clawdbot, because it enables to have that persistent knowledge about you and what you're able to do. But then we can get it to go through and basically automate and sequence a load of processes in the background as well. So for example, within our terminal interface, as we can see in here again, we could come through and say, great, I run an AI consulting business. What I need you to be able to do is go through and make sure that we have a weekly newsletter that's set up. So I need you to come up with some ideas, some drafts, everything like that. We send it out every Friday. So I need you to come up with the ideas and everything on Thursday so that I can review and approve it. We'll send that off. And now what it should be able to do is understand, we've got that request coming through. We'll see if it automatically identifies that this is going to be a chronological job straight away. It's going to come up with a few points here. Again, this is a quick demo video. We're going to have much more coming on this in depth. So now we can see that it said before it sets up a weekly automation, we've got 4 questions. We're going to go through and say, on Thursday, we want it to be 9 o'clock in the morning, so I prefer to work through it then. I want you to deliver it in a file on this workspace, i.e. markdown on the desktop for me to analyze. I then want you to go through and actually do a 5-minute to 10-minute deep dive investigation or deep dive points. Our audience is business owners as well as those enthusiastic in AI. Don't worry about the email platform for now, and let's get that set up. There we go, we'll send that off, and now it's going to go through and start getting everything installed. So there we go, it's gone through and finished that request. If we come back across to our chronological jobs, as we can see here, we've now got that instruction ready to go. And if we wanted to, we'd be able to go through, update this, improve this, and make sure that it's actually giving us the output that we want to see. One of the other things that we need to do as well, of course, keeping track of all of these different actions. So we're going to come into here. Please can you go through and just create a Kanban board with all of the backlog of items, the in-progress items, and the done items, so that we can track everything that you're doing and have done in the past. We need to make sure that this can run locally on my machine, just so that I can track all of the changes. So now we'll send this off and see if it's able to just quickly vibe code a really good app idea to life so that we can use it nice and easily to track all of the actions it's using. So there we go. It's just saying that it's done it in the background. We'll say allow. We should be able to open this up. And there we go. Is it able to come through? It's built its very own Kanban board. It's not worked straight away. Of course, we were using ChatGPT, which of course is a worse model than what we've got at the moment for Claude's Opus 4.5 and even Gemini. So I would definitely use those platforms instead. It looks like we can move them across into the different sections. So there's definitely some UI improvements there. But this is how I would use it, is definitely tracking what it's doing, anything it's working on. So to make sure it does that, we'll come back across to our dashboard. We're going to say, great, but I need you to make sure that anytime you come up with an idea, you never execute it without my permission. You always add it into the backlog, and you make sure that you remind me maybe every hour of tasks that you want to complete, suggest to complete, so that we can keep that backlog building up and we can get you working as efficiently as possible across all of the different tasks. So there we go. It looks like it's gone through and executed the command. We can just say, we just added in an extra command here saying, please come up with some tasks you think we should complete. And we want to be reminded every hour between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. So we'll just let it go through and see what it came up with. So there we go. It looks like it's made the change. We'll say yes, please. So it goes through and add 3 items across. So we should let that go through. We'll say please add all of them. so that it's added in actually, because we got loads of the different use cases that we can do then. So once this has gone through, we'll just refresh our Kanban board and see what it's been able to produce. And again, this is why I think this tech is going to be incredibly powerful. Definitely want to run it away from some of my, local machines that I would use day to day with some more sensitive data on it, put it on something that's a bit more secure, make sure that we're testing for those security elements, and then we'll be able to get it running through, completing loads and loads of different tasks on autopilot. Of course, hopefully we'll still be able to run through using tools like Opus 4.5 to get those better outputs and not breach any of the terms of service, of course, but also not burn through a bunch of credits, which it currently is if we're using the API token, but it may be worth it versus hiring some of the employees. So what we're going to do is come across and we can't see them. So we're just going to say, I can't see them on our port. So we'll just make sure that it's actually put it through. Otherwise, we're not going to have anything to review. So it looks like it's all ready to go. So we're going to click this link here. It's going to open up for us. We're then going to come through and sync Kanban from the MD. So wow, it's got quite a few in there already. So maybe what we need to come back through, and again, we can fine tune this as much as we want. We could say maybe we want prioritization for low, medium, high. Again, if these are not all in progress, they should be in the backlog. But what we just proven is that we're now able to get this to run in the background, improve maybe the apps we've got. It could respond to people on autopilot. And this is definitely the way that we're going to see a lot of the agentic coding tool go. We just need to make sure that it's the best it possibly can be. And I reckon this is where we're going to see huge differentiation. Of course, being able to use the top models for specific tasks like Opus 4.5 and Gemini 3 Pro for that really good vibe coding output versus everything else. So what do I think of it? Well, I think it's incredibly good that we're able to run it locally on our machine. We're able to do it whether you've got a Mac Mini or we're able to do it on a virtual private server. Whatever it is, that's absolutely fantastic. We're able to integrate with lots of different messaging apps to make that workflow incredibly seamlessly. It's able to be proactive. It can go through and take actions for us as and when we need it to make sure that we're getting that ball constantly rolling, or maybe some tasks that we need to do. We can give it specific skills that we need it to complete as well. So it's got lots and lots of elements that sit behind it from a sort of powerful technical point of view, but also the ability, which has been really missing from some of the AI tools as well, is having that persistent memory around who we are, what we want to do, why we want to do it, and what we want to achieve within a specific time frame as well. Imagine being able to have an AI agent that ran literally 24/7, 365 in the background, completing all of your tasks on autopilot. That's the idea that we're starting to get with platforms like Clawdbot. But do I think it's 100% there now? No, and I wouldn't expect it to be. It came out literally 3 weeks ago. My biggest concern at the moment is, of course, is the security risk that we're exposing a lot of data. We're basically just giving it access to our machine. So depending on what you actually want to achieve with it, it may be better to just stay natively within some of the applications at the moment. Or if you're comfortable maybe having that individual virtual machine or having a Raspberry Pi or a Mac Mini, whatever it is, separate, contained, everything like that, that's great. But of course, if you're then giving it access to your Gmail accounts, accessing all of your own personal data, well, then you're giving away that information anyway. What you should do is perhaps set up an AI agent account that it's then able to access and work on your behalf, versus, of course, using all of your information. The other side of that as well is heavily reliant on, of course, platforms like Claude, which are absolutely fantastic to give you the outputs and run the process. It's also, again, some of the terms of service, so I'd be interested to see how this plays out and if it can be simply swallowed up and used into platforms like Claude in the future as well. So I think it's got huge potential, but I think we're just going to need to wait and see exactly how it builds over the next couple of months, because of course we've had many tools that have come through the hype cycle. Some of them have stayed and some of them have gone. Stay tuned for more around AI automation. Make sure to come across to the community to check out more, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.